How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Laugh and Death movie review. This week we're reviewing Bird Box, the Netflix movie that came out, Christmas Day?
Approximately, yeah.
Yeah, Christmas Day with Sandra Bullock and stuff. Um, again, Fernie, Dave.
What's going on, guys?
So, Bird Box. What are your general impressions of this movie?
I mean, people are hating on this movie way too much. I think I loved it, first and foremost. That was my first impression. Like, I watched it. I was like, Sandra Bullock.
Sandy Bullock?
Sandy Bullock. She's my number one on my list, if you know what that kind of list is. And, I mean, the cast was great. I saw that they had done a really good job on that. And I don't know. What did you think, man?
Story-wise, I think it was a similar story to a lot of comparisons to that movie with John Krasinski, A Quiet Place, where you have to be quiet. It's kind of like a sensory deprivation movie where you have to be quiet in order not to attract the monsters. In this case, you can't look at the monsters or else they'll kill you. Hold on, to pause.
Spoilers. Yeah, so I mean, I love the concept, and that's what had me like hooked from the jump. When I first saw A Quiet Place, I was like, okay, I understand. It was just the suspense of disbelief that I couldn't get past. Like, okay,
There's like A Quiet Place was like some things you can be louder than others, but
in some situations you could slam a book on the floor or do something stupid, and you were totally fine.
yeah, but in others you could just sneeze and they'll be on you.
Exactly.
But I think the Bird Box was really paced well until like the third act. It was just like, okay, movies moving along, and they kind of do flashbacks because they do her on the river with the kids, and then they do flashbacks to when it first started, and they kind of tell the story that way. So, but I feel like after the third act, I think it kind of just rushed through it to finish the movie. So I felt like it was a little rushed towards the end, but overall, I think it was a good movie. It's not the best movie that everybody's like making it hyped out to be. And this Bird Box challenge, man, it's just crazy that people are blindfolding themselves and doing everyday things. Just like, why?
It's so dumb. I know that I saw a few memes where they were like, it's kind of sad that they actually harm children. In the making of that meme was they were walking around like closing the blinds, and the kids are blindfolded, and the lady or the guy grabs the kids by the hands, and he starts running, and the kid runs into the wall.
Yeah.
And it was real, and like the kid was like real reaction, like walking around like he was like a little concussed. It was a little crazy, but it's kind of dumb. But it's getting a lot of praise, and I mean, a lot of people were hating on it because of the memes. But I mean, there could always be a part 2, and maybe they can fix things that they didn't get right in the first one.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe a different angle, maybe a foreign film where you have to read the subtext and stuff like that. But
Okay, I kind of want to go into spoilers.
spoiler warning, guys.
So if you haven't watched this movie, why haven't you watched this movie already? It's like 42 million people have watched this movie. What's wrong with you? Anyways, we're going to go into spoilers, so we're going to talk a bit more specific into the things. We kind of did a general overview of our feelings of it and like the plot of it, but the story starts off with Sandra Bullock's character being pregnant and going to a doctor's appointment, and then when they leave this doctor's appointment, there's been reports on the TVs at her apartment and stuff that this virus is going around and making people suicidal or making them crazy.
Yeah.
So when they leave the hospital, it hits their town, which is, I think they're in Washington State.
Yeah, it's probably like Seattle or something.
Yeah. So we see like the beginning of it, and her sister kills herself after she sees something, and then they go into this house, and they're trying to figure out what the cause of it is, and they kind of quickly discover the cause of like, don't look at the thing kills you, or you kill yourself when you look at thing. Just John Malkovich's character is just John Malkovich, and I don't know, he kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's just like, why do these kind of type of movies always have to have that one, like, I'm ruthless, or like I'm the guy character?
I mean, it's somebody that you can relate to. That's why they put that person into the movie. I mean, because that person specifically reminded me of somebody who looks exactly like that person that we know.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, very conservative, very outspoken. You're a fucking idiot, and things need to be my way.
Yeah.
And I mean, you come off as a prick no matter what. So, yeah, I mean, that character was really good. Like, I really enjoyed his performance and everything that he brought to the table.
There's these, and then it moves on to just it quickly turned into like knowing which characters were bad and which characters were good. And I'm saying that because was it Olympia, the other pregnant lady that came into the house after the initial like lockdown. I don't know how she survived out there and then came into. She's like, she basically tells them like, I'm pretty much useless. Like, my husband took care of me, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But somehow she survived through all that chaos and got to the house. And then once the British character came by that was saying like he escaped the lunatics, I was like, I'm pretty sure this guy's the crazy one.
Yeah.
Because after a certain point, people that survived are people that whatever creature is going around is using them to bring out all the other people that are hiding from them. So
that's a plot that I absolutely loved. Was that there was lunatics and there was the believers and stuff, and
yeah,
they believed in the rapture and
yeah, but it was kind of like it was kind of predictable. Like, as soon as the guy showed up, I was like, oh, this is the guy that's gonna get him out of the house, because one way or another they're gonna have to get out of the house, because we know that she's going somewhere else, and the people that were in the beginning of the story aren't there now.
I mean, instead of it being like predictable, it was like, okay, this was the story that she lived, and you obviously know that she made it through, and she's survived several years because her hair's a lot longer in the boat scenes than it is when she's pregnant with the kids. And you realize very quickly that the kids are the ones that they gave birth on the same day. They're born on the 13th.
That's kind of like I feel like that's like a story writing like thing that they couldn't figure out how to have two kids like born, and they're like, let's just make him born on the same day. Let's get it over with. Like, all right, why not?
I don't know. Maybe there was something more to it that we didn't really see on the first watch. I know that there's a lot of like podcasts like this that they're actually talking about and breaking down and analyzing like what they were doing, and how everything kind of meshes together.
Yeah.
And it creates a more succinct story when you know a little bit more of the lore and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, it was
because it is a book that somebody's written, so I feel like the book would provide more context to decisions from the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And speaking of the book, there's a different ending, because once they get to Sandra Bullock's character and the kids go on this dangerous river expedition to a sanctuary, and they kind of find themselves like just going through this, and all the flashback scenes are going on when they're on this boat, and I felt like besides the river and the guy on the river like telling them to take the blindfold off, like they really weren't into any danger besides the elements.
The rapids.
Yeah, just the elements and the rapids. And then once it got to Sanctuary, I felt like it wasn't as like the stakes weren't there anymore. Like, there were still creatures around, but they're just like, oh no, just listen to me. I'm gonna get you there. I don't know. It just felt like they kind of rushed it. Like I said,
Yeah.
they could have done more at the end to make the stakes feel a little bit higher. And yeah, so the ending was a little underwhelming to me. But I was thinking like, it could just be that ending. It doesn't have to be anything other than people that you like get saved, and that's all.
Yeah, I mean, and I know how they bookended the movie, because at the very end of the movie, you see the doctor that was there at the doctor's office when she was first pregnant. Yes, so I saw like the book ending, but it could have been done a lot better, because it kind of just says, "Oh, hey, remember me? Oh yeah, remember you were a doctor," and then end credits.
Yeah,
and so it was just
And I think the alternative ending to this movie was that they get to sanctuary, but in order to survive there, they have to blind themselves because the sanctuary that they're in is a blind school, a school for the blind, which is in the middle of the forest for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like deep in the forest. So the people there they're not affected by these creatures, so they kind of took seeing people in their school or their rehab center or whatever it was, hospital, and they have like a bird sanctuary because the birds are the ones that alert people when the creatures are around.
They sense them.
But yeah, in the book or the other ending was that they would have to blind themselves in order to survive in this sanctuary.
Yeah.
And
I just one thing that didn't click with me was we didn't learn enough about the monster. We didn't learn about how it forms or how it. I mean, does it all it needs is leaves or?
Yeah, like I don't think it's leaves. I think it's more like air. Like, is it floating? Is it flying? What?
Yeah, I mean, because it looks like as it's rushing in the forest scene, they're running away, and it seems like there's 3 after them, and I mean, it can't touch them physically, so it's just trying to be.
Okay, but why can't it touch them physically when they were in the car? Well, when they went to the grocery store, it was moving the car. And it
Plot holes.
And it came into like to the point where like they can sense things were in front of them, behind them when they were surrounding the car.
Yeah.
And so does it not know how to use doors? That's why they need to use people.
And not come into an area. Could it break down a door?
Yeah. Do you have to invite them in like a vampire?
So all these things are left in the air
Yeah.
that I have questions about. I absolutely loved. I don't know how you feel about it. I love that they did not show the monster, and it's supposed to be like an idea of your biggest fear or anything like that.
Yeah. I think they're trying to do like the Jaws thing where like they didn't show the shark for the first chunk of the movie until like the end. So you're always in suspense of how big the shark is, and so maybe they're trying to do that. And I think Sandra Bullock said in interviews that she saw the monsters because they had mock-ups of the monsters, so they had people inside the monster suits or whatever, but she couldn't stop laughing at them because they looked like big slugs or something.
They say that, and then the concept artist came out and they showed that the monsters, because like obviously the psychopath that comes in, the English psychopath,
he had those
has the
drawings.
pictures, and they all look similar, but they're all black face, red eyes, like demonic looking. But the concept artist came out and showed a picture, and it looks like an adult baby, like crying face.
Okay, that's what
that looks moldy, like a prune. And I was like, okay, but I don't understand. I don't get it. And the monsters look blind themselves.
Yeah,
it looks like their eyes are like imploding into their face. So I don't know.
Okay, so overall, out of a 10, what would you rate this movie?
I give it exactly what everybody's ranking it, a 7. It was good. I enjoyed it. I hope that there's a sequel. It doesn't deserve the hate that everybody's giving it. I know people are just hating on it because of all the memes and stuff like that, but
yeah,
I do stand by the story. I wish they would have given me a little bit more of the lore of the entire thing, but overall, I really enjoyed this movie.
Okay, I'll give it a 6 actually. I feel like it was a good movie. I don't think it's a movie that I'll watch again, but you said, and finally to end, like you said, you wanted a sequel. What do you want the sequel to be? Is it like a continuation of them in the sanctuary, or do you want to follow somebody else?
I want to follow somebody else. I love this whole like point of view. That's why I really enjoyed Fear the Walking Dead, because it gave you a different angle of where these on a different origin story, and I want to see that, because I don't know if you saw in when they first talk about the breakout, that the breakout happened overseas, and I don't know if it happened like around Jerusalem or Iraq or whatever, the first one, but maybe it has some biblical background to it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I thought they were gonna do more with this character actor. At the end, one of the guys that was driving around in the cars, and they're kind of going through houses and looking for survivors. He does a lot of like creepy guys, black hair, kind of lanky, big nose. I don't know if he's.
yeah, I remember him. Did he come out in Ant-Man?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like the
The
he's
Slovakian dude. Yeah.
yeah. I think I thought they would do more with him just because he's a really good actor and I really like his work. So I thought they were gonna do more with him as far as story. Like he knows it's wrong, but he still wants to like survive, so he has to do what he has to do. I thought they were gonna go into some background with him or like just give him a dialogue. I don't think he said anything in this whole movie.
He said a couple. He said like one line, and then they popped him.
So I think that's what I want to see if they have a sequel. Like, how do people get to the point of being true believers and like wanting people to see this thing and commit suicide?
The lunatics. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that touching on that would be a good point of view.
Could be genuinely evil people that it takes over. It has a better influence on them.
Yeah. All right, so gave it a 7. I give it a 6. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thank you guys for listening. This is our review of Bird Box. If you have any comments about it, what would you think about it? That's all I got.
If you like content like this, check us out over at youtube.com/laughanddeath and at our Instagram at laughanddeathpodcast. You can also find us over at iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcast Services. If you want to see more content in the future, like more movie reviews, I think we're in the process of scheduling all the movies for the rest of the year out. Might do Captain Marvel next, but we'll see unless something else comes out on Netflix that we want to sit down and review with you all. But thanks for your time, guys, and
Talk to you later.
peace.